Karma misunderstood. Karma, just like the word dharma or dhamma, is a word that is used so often in the Western world, probably more than here in the Southeast Asia where I am. But in Buddhism, obviously used, and also in Brahmanism, Hinduism, Jainism, and other religions such as Confucianism, Shinto, and so on. There are concepts of karma, and there are also concepts of karma in Christianity and even Islam, which is sin and merit. Sin, you get paid back for your sins, that's karma, isn't it? As people understand it. But that is karma misunderstood. That first of all, people think of karma as some kind of justice system. Like a courtroom in heaven with somebody with a judge, Yama. We even have it in the pantheon of gods, the god Yama, the god of death, who sits there and judges you. Or in ancient Egypt, you had the feather of Ma'at, which was used to measure your heart, and Anubis, the jackal-headed god, I believe, after you passed the crocodile, would be passed on to Anubis. Anubis would measure your heart on a pair of scales, rip out your heart and put it on a scale and take the feather of Ma'at, and it would measure your deeds. And if your heart was heavier than the feather, then you went into the underworld. And so all this payback kind of thing, all based on a justice system that was actually existed since humans invented it. After the rise of civilization, who knows, 3,500, 5,000, 7,000, 12,000, 60,000 years ago, who knows? This is being found out in the moment, how old, and if there's been an advanced civilization that fell apart once before us or not. Even top scientists are taking this seriously now. So anyway, however long we've been on the planet, we've had this concept. So karma misunderstood. And I was having a chat with a friend in Australia and started talking about something I did. I chased somebody away who was stealing, and really just took things so far to the point where I said, please don't do or say that and stop this, because if not, you're going to make me say and do things I don't want to do. And they didn't, and they really went over the line. And one of the precepts of Buddhism is non-violence, of course, but I was defending my household and a female member of my family, and so I took out a katana sword, a real one, and defended myself and told the person to leave immediately. The person still tried to steal something, so I had to actually chase them away down the road. And so my friend said that, he deserved what he got, because I listed what he did, and it really was some of the things, not all, but he was ripping off a lot of people as well, local people, and actually he's been chased away by the local people now because he was ripping everybody off. But anyway, I replied to my friend after he said yes, he got what he deserved. It was his karma. He didn't say that it's his karma, but it's kind of saying, let's assume he got what he deserved, so he got his karma. Somebody in the States or Europe or many Westerners would say that instant karma, man. He got what he deserved. And I replied the following, more or less. I replied, yes, but it still leaves me with baggage, which means regrets for unskillfulness, or for having broken the rule of non-violence, panatibata sikhabatang samatiyami, veramani sipaks, panatibata veramani sikhabatang samatiyami. I refrain from violence. Could have spoken or called the police or something or whatever. I didn't have to chase him away with a katana. So thinking that later, after having the hormones in your body, evolution has programmed you to protect your family and your household and your children and your dogs and whatever, it rises up. Anger is actually the product of a serum released in the brain, adrenaline and other kind of things, dopamine, so you don't feel pain and I don't know what. And it's actually not a psychological, emotional thing that is non-physical. It has a physical relationship to your body. When you think of something, of being wronged, or of somebody going too far according to your wrong views of concept of what is going too far or not, or my wrong views in this case, then you react. Emotions are reactions, and actions done through emotion are also reactions. Yeah, so I call them reactions, not emotions, really. Emotions are reactions to thoughts. Yeah, and they are reactions caused because of the serum set into motion in the nervous system from the brain through the glands, serotonin, adrenaline, dopamine, and all sorts of things, all sorts of different molecular compounds, which will make your body shake. Adrenaline will make your body shake. You can run a mile without even panting. You can fight, and you'll still be shaking after the fight because of the adrenaline. Yeah. So a buffalo gets angry when a lion comes to attack its cubs, and it attacks the lion in great anger and fury. Is it being sinful? No, but is it creating karma? Yeah, it's creating karma. And is it its karma? Well, karma is not retribution, because this universe existed a long time before humans invented the concept of courtrooms and judges with hammers. Yeah, because the word karma actually means action, and all actions have a reaction. And here's a bit of a funny one. My kind of way of teaching how I interpret the Dhamma, which can be true or false, that's for you to decide, what the Buddha taught me and how I understand it in the modern world, in modern language, using science to support it, not to disagree with it. I like to use modern language. So if you sit your ass on a fire, on a stove, yeah, hot stove, first of all you stick to it and rip your skin off and say, ouch. But you won't be able to sit down for a month, but that's for sure. But that's not retribution, Is that karma? If something bad happened to you, is that karma? Some people might say that's karma because in a past life I did something to somebody, so this happened to me. Some angel come and made me sit on that so that I burnt my ass. But that's completely unprovable and highly illogical. Highly, highly illogical that there are actually envoys created by heaven, created by the creator of heaven, or self-appointed if there is no creator, if you don't believe in one. I mean, how can the heavens get constructed, just auto-construct themselves? You'd need somebody to invent the artificial intelligence algorithm for it to auto-construct itself first, just like we do as humans in computing. So anyway, that's another conversation about is there a creator or not, and does Buddhism conflict with that or not? I can say no, it doesn't, because the Buddha never even agreed to talk on the topic of whether there was a creator or not. What he taught, the path to the end of suffering. So there's no judge in heaven banging a hammer saying that you deserve a blister on your ass because you're stupid enough to sit on a hot stove. Yeah, if you're stupid enough to sit on a hot stove with your bare ass, yeah, that is a cause of you shortly afterwards, in the very near future, getting a blister. So it's the cause of a future effect. But is it retribution? No. It's just cause and effect. It's just shit happens, So, I personally do not believe in karma that, I have a bad elbow because I was a fighter in a previous life and I broke many people's elbows. It was my favorite thing. So I broke my elbow in this life. Or I used to chop people's arms off in a past life, so I was born with one arm in this life. I don't really believe that. I don't believe the universe is teaching us all lessons like some mean old teacher. And I don't believe any creator would do that to itself, because its own creations are basically droplets of itself, just like the droplets of foam of a wave on the ocean fall back into the ocean. It is not a droplet, it is the ocean. It's just spat off for a minute and falls back in. That's like our lifetime. Our lifetime is like we become a droplet, we leave the ocean for a split second, a tiny moment, a fraction in time, and then we fall back into the ocean again. All lives are rivers running down to the sea. Yeah. And so karma, misunderstood, is that if you sit your ass on the fire and you can't sit down for a month and you get a blister, that's some kind of retribution from something you did in the past life, or because you played a trick on somebody's ass in this life. I don't believe that. I think it's just that you were unskillful. And so I don't believe in sin and merit. I believe in skillfulness and unskillfulness. And I believe in auspicious and inauspicious intention. So what you would say good and evil. Beyond good and evil lies auspicious and inauspicious intentions. There are intentions that are auspicious, and acts which are auspicious, and words and deeds, and feelings and thoughts which are auspicious. And all of those things exist also in inauspicious form. And perhaps also might exist in a form which is neither auspicious or inauspicious. Yeah? Which is a mood you would call in Pali, Sanskrit, in Pali language, apiyagrit, which is a kind of limbo of, it's not just I don't give a shit, I don't care. It's a kind of lackluster of having given up. It's a kind of, it's not wanting to exist and it's not wanting to exist. It's not even either of those two. It's neither. It's just a limbo. And some people try to escape suffering by going to that limbo. That's wrong. And karma misunderstood, which is the title of this podcast. I'd just like to say, I said to my friend in the conversation, my opinion was that dharma, the word dharma and the word karma, most people, they can't even distinguish it from a shawarma, which is a kind of kebab, by the way. They would say, I've just found a dharma. Well, actually, the word dhamma, means nature. So the Buddha Dhamma, Buddha means awakened, nature, Buddha Dhamma. What it is used to refer to is the teaching of the true nature of existence, of the causes of things and the effects which result from such causes, and how to remove the causes of suffering, how to create the causes of auspicious things for the goal of nibbana, peace, yeah, and not having to be reborn in realms where you have to get old, sick, die, and lose the loved ones and lose your possessions and everything. Because that's what reincarnation is, and that's where a Hindu is glad to be reborn, but wants to be reborn as a god, but a Buddhist doesn't want to be reborn at all. Because being born means getting old, sick, and die. And karma, and it is karma that brings us into that, because we are lost in cause and effect, not in retribution for the bad things we've done, for our sins. No, if you set fire to yourself, it's gonna hurt. And blame doesn't exist either, but if you want to blame anyone, you blame yourself. You want to say it's a karma for something that happened in the past life. I'd say it's just the effect of setting fire to yourself is that you die and get burned. It's as simple as that. There's nobody with a banging a hammer upstairs saying, you deserve to get burned because you're stupid enough to set fire to yourself. That's your punishment. That would be absolutely ridiculous. So how can that be your karma? But you would be creating karma by saying, I chased away somebody who did very bad, spoke very bad, stole from me and my friends, stole from me in my house when he was my guest, and I chased him away with a katana because he turned out to be a real thief and a very bad person. But that doesn't mean I don't put my head on the pillow at night and think, well, that was unskillful. And I get these little things popping up inside in the heart. You're falling asleep and then you remember something unskillful you did that could have been handled a different way when you think about it more clearly. And you get this pang inside you. And I call it baggage. Yeah, I say that's baggage. So I would say that karma for me is basically when you put your head on the pillow at night, if you feel peace in your heart, then you've got no baggage and you're not carrying anything heavy load and you know you have been skillful. But if you put your head on the pillow at night and your heart is not peaceful and you can't sleep easily, then you've been unskillful. And so the word skillful and unskillful, if you use sin and merit, you have to be a Buddhist or a Muslim. And sin and virtue, you'd have to be a Christian. And, you'd have to, it splits the language up and you can't talk to people of all religions. But if you say skillful and regrets from being unskillful, regret from being unskillful is what Buddhists call karma. I would just say it is the effect of a cause, yeah? And every event, every experience we have is the effect of a previous cause, and it's also creating the cause of a future effect, right in the present moment, 2 in 1. So either you have baggage or you don't. If you have baggage, then you know you have karma, what people call karma. But actually, karma is not an effect you receive. Karma means action, yeah? And all actions are causes of an effect. All actions cause a reaction. So actions are causes and reactions are effects. Cause and effect is in motion. Yeah, and everything is subject to cause and effect. And this is the teaching of the Buddha, that everything is subject to cause and effect. Not that if you sin, you will go to hell, and that if you are meritorious and pious, you will go to heaven. The only way that's true is that the baggage you carry and the unhappiness you carry in life, and probably in the moment of death, and maybe where you go after death because of your own mind and its own mindset, that if it is focused on evil or harmfulness and inauspicious, unskillful thoughts and does not have mindfulness present and is lost in that, then it's a self-made hell. You could call that hell, I suppose. Yeah, but it's not a retribution. You get what you expect, not what you deserve. And you get what you think you deserve. And that's the Last Judgment. William Blake himself said, every day, every deed, every word we do, we say, everything we do every day in the present moment is the Last Judgment. Because we're judging ourselves, because we might die at any time. And that's why it's important to do what we consider to be good deeds, to be kind, to be friendly, to be generous, to be helpful, yeah, to have equanimity towards other beings. Not that I'm good at it. I chase somebody out of my house, so that's not equanimity, right? So I carry that baggage. That is, karma is the regret of being unskillful. That is what I experience as the result of my karma. The result of my actions. The results of your karma are the results of your actions. So karma misunderstood is a courtroom with somebody banging a hammer punishing you. Yeah? Or the universe punishing you, or God punishing you for your actions. Whereas actually you are just, like the guy said, he brought it upon himself. The guy who chased away. Yes, he did, but the regret I feel from having chased him away with a katana is also something I brought upon my own self. So it was, he received the effect, but I also created the cause of my own regret. later when I went to bed and put my head on the pillow at night. And so he received his karma through my action, but my action was also creating a cause for an effect I was going to experience later, namely regret, which is baggage. And that's what most people call karma. But I'd like to stress that karma is not an effect. It's not the end of the line, it's the beginning of the line. Karma is the action. Kamma means action. Yeah? And after action always comes reaction. Yeah? So are we with karma misunderstood, or are we with karma starting to be understood? We all bear the fruits of our own actions. Every experience is the fruition of an earlier performed act. Or, meaning, the effect of a preceding cause. And that every current experience is simultaneously the cause of a future effect. Yeah? Or reaction. Like Bob Marley said, every little action causes a reaction. So it's two in one. This moment, this experience, this feeling, this thought we are having now, this breath we are taking, is all the cause of a future effect, of how we're going to feel in the next moment or later. And is also a result of what we did, thought and felt before. So if I wake up in a good mood, that really is connected with what I was thinking about when I went to sleep, for sure. Or what was in my back brain, what was in my subconscious mind. If there was something bothering me, I'll wake up and it will have come to fruition once my dreams have rearranged it into the database of my mind in its own way that humans can't actually find its filing system method. In the same way in computing, a human cannot read an MySQL database language. You have to convert it back into a visual language for humans to be able to read. Yeah. Computing, I like having learned computing because having been a monk and a lesi and learned vipassana kammatthana, mindfulness and inner introspection of the universe within, the inner space within, and through science and astrophysics, the outer space without, and quantum mechanics, along with the Buddha Dhamma, the true nature of all existence. Everything is coagulating into one thing. How now quantum science and Buddhism, my tummy was rumbling. I don't know if you heard that, but when I was a monk, my tummy used to rumble. Giving a Dhamma teaching, most monks' tummies rumbles. I'm not a monk anymore, but that was funny because I haven't eaten yet, and it's probably 12 already, and a monk should not eat after 12. But I'm not a monk anyway, so I wouldn't break a rule if I did. And I'm digressing from karma. So sorry, I was just getting lost in thought and not being mindful and sticking to the point. So, I would say every moment, word, thought, intention, reaction is a cause come to fruition, but also creates a cause of future effects. What we're experiencing now, it's both a result and a cause. Yeah? A result and a cause. It's like walking on a razor blade. Yeah? To avoid this, what the Buddha did was to escape this. Yeah? I'd like to talk about how he entered Nibbana in depth on another day, but just quickly now that he learned from the two Rusi that he left because it didn't lead to enlightenment, their teaching, how to enter the fourth jhana, or fifth jhana if you like, or eighth if you like. I call it fourth, which means the final level of full absorption where you forget yourself and otherness and you become one with everything and you see the true nature of things. But it doesn't enlighten you, it doesn't free you from the causes of future rebirth, which means arahantship and nirvana, never returner. The never returner is the arahant, never returns. Yeah. After the never returner, the anakami is the arahant who enters nirvana. He's not even a deity. It just becomes purely free from that. Yeah. When he did that, he was dying paranirvana. Entering paranirvana means dying. He was dying from food poisoning. And he went up into the fourth jhana, which is what he learned from the Rusi. And remember, he left them. Yeah, he left them because it didn't take him to enlightenment. So jhana wasn't the answer, but he used jhana to find nirvana during his dying moments. And he went from first to fourth. I think it was Mokkallana, but I'm not sure which, or Sariputra. It was one of his closer friends and assistants and closest beloved friends, other bhikkhus, who one of them had psychic ability to follow him, what he was doing with his mind, the mind of the Buddha. And he followed him up to fourth jhana, and then the Buddha came back down to first jhana, the first level of absorption. Yeah, and then as he was going up, he reached third jhana, and before he entered fourth jhana, somebody asked, "Where is he now?" And the monk who was observing his mind, where he was traveling to in his dying moments, said, "I don't know. He's gone. He just slipped away. He's just gone somewhere I don't know." And they said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's like if all you have is sky, and no planets, no land, no trees, no mountains, nothing to compare to, no clouds in the sky, and you have an arrow flying through the sky. You won't be able to tell how far away it is, how big it is, how fast it's going, what direction it's going in, where it's coming from, or where it's going to. Yeah? Because you need tripulation or triangulation. You ask any navigator or ask any astronaut, yeah, or any physicist, yeah, or even engineer. You would need tripulation, or a mathematician. You would need tripulation or triangulation to be able to find the exact distance, location, size, and speed of movement of such an object. So it was completely unmeasurable. He became immeasurable. He could see him, but he didn't know where he was gone. Just gone to a place. And I believe that place was perception. And that he chose a perception to fall into, like the flash of light in your dying moment. And that he dived into that forever. Into one perception of a heavenly experience that is eternally tolerable. And I think he just went and lived in that final moment forever. But that's my own belief. So back to karma and understanding it. I would say that avoiding karma and entering nirvana, as just explained, as far as I could in this short podcast, it's like walking on a razor blade, yeah, between action and reaction. The effects of my past causes is where I am now, and where I am now is also causing where I'm going to be in the future and what's going to happen to me, whether I deserve it or not. Because sometimes you don't deserve it and it happens to you. You're a really good person and really bad things happen to you. So karma is not punishment, it's just shit happens. This doesn't happen to me. That's the view of a self that doesn't exist. It just happens. So why is it raining on my birthday? Why does this have to happen to me? It's not happening to you. It's just raining. It's not personal. It's raining because it has to. The planet has to do that. And your birthday isn't going to stand in the way of it. It's not personal. But we take it personal because we believe in a self that doesn't exist. Whereas if we didn't, we would just think, oh, it's raining. We wouldn't think it's raining on my birthday. Why does this happen to happen to me, have to happen to me? It's not happening to you, it's just happening. And if it's happening to anybody, it's happening to everybody who's experiencing it. Or it seems to be happening to them, whereas actually it's just happening and they happen to be present at the time. So they happen to be happening as the rain happens to happen, yeah? So it's all just a happening, but there's no person, nothing personal in there. That's not karma, that it rains on your birthday. It's like being a harlequin, you know, the master of karma yoga, which means avoiding of action yoga, the yoga of actions, speech, thoughts, reactions, being skillful, the art of being skillful and not creating baggage for oneself to carry when you put your head on the pillow at night. Yeah. Or, as Karma Misunderstood type students or people would say, karma. Yeah. Action. What do you mean action? It's not action, it's the result of the action. Stop using karma like that. You don't know what it means. Sorry. I'm creating karma for myself with that even. Because that was cynical. Which is agusala dhamma, is inauspicious. So everything is moving around you, I have to go into this. That the Harlequin image of the juggler is similar to the meaning of this, avoiding karma, because when you juggle, you remain still, which means you don't act, you don't get involved, and you don't create causes. If you don't create causes, you will not receive effects. And that's how the Buddha did it, by stopping creating future causes and just waiting out the effects of past causes to just run out. Yeah? And let them all run out, but not create any future causes. So letting the effects of your previous actions all run out their course, but don't create any causes of future negative effects, negative or inauspicious, yeah? You can create causes of auspicious effects, and that is the practice of what the Buddha taught, how to practice, what to do, how to examine yourself, how to create causes in your mind of changing, of self-transformation. Those are positive and auspicious, and those are you never go for the effect. If you want to be healthy, you have to create the cause of being healthy, which means doing exercise and living a healthy life and eating well and doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, the cause of being healthy is living a healthy life. Yeah, so if you want anything in life, don't go for the fruit. Create the cause. Because if you create the cause, the fruit will come. If you try and pick a fruit, an apple, and you haven't even planted the seed to grow the apple tree yet, how the heck can you pick the apple? So you do not aim for your goals, which are the effects. What you do is create the causes of the goals you wish to aim for. And that's a good tip for business even, never mind karma and dharma and Buddhism and beyond the worldly, unworldly. So this juggler who avoids this kind of action, the Harlequin, he's like the Buddha inside a mandala in the middle, because everything is moving around you, including your own hands when you're juggling, but you are still in the middle at the hub of the wheel. You stare and you look at an empty space between the balls and your hands move. But the only way you can keep juggling, if your eyes follow one of the balls, you lose sight of the others and they drop. So the trick is to look between them, yeah, where your hands are and where the balls are, but don't follow them, which is much like gasina, staring, gasin, the 10 gasina staring methods of meditation taught by the Buddha, to stare at images outside until your eyes water and it starts to glow, and then close your eyes and hold the glowing residual image on your retina within your mind and stop it from wandering. Try to avoid it wandering and hold it still, and then make it grow and get smaller. And so even in the Buddha's teaching, this practice existed, to stare. Yeah. And so once you stare and absorb, you become still, and you're in the middle at the hub of the wheel. The wheel is spinning. That's like the mandala. It's spinning and spinning and spinning. That is the world of actions, of birth. Yeah? Like the Buddha in the middle of the mandala. His place is the 0 point in stillness, nothingness, emptiness. And the first proliferation, which is being born, into the world, around him is 4 petals, which is probably being born into a very subtle heavenly world first. Our first birth, as we came out of the great ocean, the cosmic ocean, or the quantum field, if you like, of consciousness, timeless, beginningless, endless consciousness that is what scientists call this 96% of the universe, black energy, dark matter that they can't see, and that consciousness inhabits everything, all kinds of matter in the material universe. Well, there you go. That's the mandala. And you look at galaxies, it's a mandala. And all of the super galaxies composed of all galaxies so far apart they can hardly see each other. When you go further away and look, you see that they form another mega spiral galaxy made up of billions of spiral galaxies. And that between those, there are also strand-like mega galaxies far away from each other. And so it's massive and most probably infinite, which is why the Buddha never went further after having looking very far. Because he said, all you need is this handful of leaves, these few teachings to escape the causes of rebirth and suffering. And all of the rest is you can spend eternity investigating the universe and its mysteries. And so like the Buddha in the middle of the mandala, he is still, but around him is us, lost in the world of action and reaction. And of course, causing ever more causes of being born again and again and again and again and again. And the first proliferation around him is the 4 petals. So we are born into a heavenly, subtle world. And slowly we become further conditioned through the process of becoming pawa, which is one of the 12 links in dependent origination taught by the Buddha, which is precisely the explanation of how we are always reborn into illusory dream thinking, or samsara, samsaric existence, of being born, getting old, sick, ill, die, lose your loved ones, cry, be scared as well, shit your pants because you're dying. Let's be honest. After the first proliferation comes 8 petals. It's more complex. It's maybe a deva world, maybe the jealous gods where they play tricks on each other, but they're happy, have powerful things, and have all of the requisites they need. And then you have 16 petals, then 32 petals, go one more ridge outwards to the outer side of the mandala, 64, 128, 256, and so on. On some flowers, on some mandalas, which are usually sacred geometry based. And split through 4. Whereas actually with vortex math and also the golden mean and with the Fibonacci sequence, you can find petals being formed following the Fibonacci sequence, which is the same sequence which causes the number of channels which are built in a nautilus shell, the underwater shell. It's like a squid with a shell that floats through the water. If you chop it in half in a segment, you can see it's a spiral. Or you look at a sunflower, the seeds in the middle of a sunflower, you can see it's a spiral. Or a cauliflower, especially the green ones that have pyramid-like structures on them, you can see that they form, or how crystals form and stuff. You can see this process, this algorithm repeating and repeating and repeating. It's fractal. And it repeats, and it's a process. So, as this repeats and we get born, furthermore ever materialized from deva realms into physical realms until we are down here on the world. And we can no longer see reality, and we become lost in samsara, or illusory dream thinking. Is precisely like being out on the very far edge of the mandala, the same way this world is on the far edge of the spiral arm of the galaxy. We are also out on the edge of the mandala when we are born on Earth. We are lost in actions which bring reactions. Do you notice the numbers I used are the same as bytes and megabytes used in computing? Well, as I said to my friend in the chat, that's because our minds, just like everything, are ruled by math, or, as I prefer to say better, sacred geometry. Essentially the same, two words for the same thing. And that's why both sacred geometry or math and computing both concur in the numerical formulas. So that's why the mandala, the Buddhist mandala, which is a philosophical concept to represent a very deep idea of becoming, the process of becoming, and the way to stay out of becoming is to be like the Buddha in the center of a circle when you put the needle of the compass. Yeah, it doesn't move. That's the only part of a turning wheel that doesn't move, is right in the center of the hub. The eye of the storm. You can stand in the eye of the storm still, and the storm can be raging around you, but you can be still and peaceful. Rock of Ages. You can be sitting on the unmovable rock of ages with the waves battering it around you in a storm. But you are still on the rock and unmovable. The rock is unmovable, even though the storm rages around it. And that is the razor's edge, to walk along the razor's edge, or to be the harlequin juggler, or to be the master meditator whose mind does not flex or distract and remains absorbed and still. Yeah? But computing and Buddhist cosmology and Buddhist philosophy, and also the universe, existence itself, so the Dhamma, the true nature of things, how the universe exists and our experience and how we exist, consciousness and so on. It's not that different from, if you look at the numbers in the sacred geometry and you know how to compute, you will see the similarity, and you will see how to boot Windows from DOS is like to make something from nothing. It's a miracle how they did that. Yeah, but it's virtual, meaning it's not analog. Analog means a moving, spinning hard drive or a moving wheel. Digital means, like on the internet, it's virtual. An ebook is digital book. Yeah, an analog book is paper. You have to turn the pages. An analog music player is a record player where the record spins and turns and it has moving parts. That's analog. Digital does not have moving parts. It's crystal, or it's virtual, right? And I think that the universe isn't much different from how we did Windows. The graphic interfaces you see on your screen don't exist. It's just machine language. It's a load of code written on not even a piece of paper, something that we can see like a notepad piece of paper on the computer screen, but to the computer it's not. It's just zeros and ones. It's just nothing and something, darkness and light. It's just these two sides of a coin until quantum computing comes, which is another thing. That's when we go into the similarity to how the Buddha formulated his teachings using categorizing things into groups of four, which he would subcategorize each of the four categories into four subcategories. And his teachings would be complete like that, and would be like a sacred geometry yantra, a yant or a mandala. Impermeable, like a walled fortress, like a 7-walled crystal wall of Buddhas and deities protecting it, if you want to be mystical about it. But actually it's just an impermeable thesis that cannot be attacked or found to be false. And that's why the Buddha's teaching is so, he says, don't believe me, just check it out for yourself and decide for yourself, because he knew that you cannot find fault with any of his teachings. And so the universe is digital and based on sacred geometry and math, and the physical universe, and so is our imaginary universe, or our spiritual or intellectual, philosophical consciousness, our cognitive universe. Cognitive science means the science of consciousness, the sense of experiencing something. There's a self there. Now, if the self is taken away, First of all, karma is taken away. Yeah? There is no reaction or action. There is no interaction between things. It's called reaction between me and the world. Actually, it's not. It's everything interacting with each other. Yeah? And you can't stop interaction while you have a body. The Buddha couldn't even do that. But what you can do is get rid of the cause of future rebirth, which is wrong view of a self that does not exist. And it is this view of a self that does not exist. If you heard a tapping, that was me tapping my lock screen. The view of a self that does not exist, is what makes us think, side with ourselves. Like, the guy in front of me, he's driving too slow, he's going to make me late for work. That's my reality. It's not true. Because the guy in front of me is thinking, the guy behind me is in such a rush, he's got a death wish, and he wants me to risk my life speeding up because he's revving his bike behind me. So who's right? Each person sees it from their own point of view, siding with themselves. A self that does not exist, because actually he's not trying to make me late and I'm not trying to make him drive faster than he wants to. We're just both seeing things with wrong view. Yeah, we're just both seeing things, siding with ourselves, because we believe in the self that does not exist. The atta, as the Buddha called it, the ego as we call it. And because if that didn't exist, I would have just sat there, waiting for the guy in front of me to go. I might have thought, I'm going to be a bit late. But it's unavoidable. And so with equanimity, which means letting go of, changing what you can, but what you can't change, accepting it. That's equanimity. Yeah, when you can't help somebody, don't suffer for it, because there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to have equanimity. That's part of it. Yeah, but that when you can help, you do. That's also equanimity. And that's important. If what you think is karma is something bad happening to you, then think about doing those things instead. Equanimity, generosity, kind intention, yeah, and compassion. And try to get rid of the concept of a self that doesn't exist. Try to think about how this isn't happening to me. It's just happening. It's not personal. Stop taking things personally and thinking of things like that. And it will begin. Because that's very important in escaping what most people misunderstand to be karma. So that was, apart from various things inserted, which were not directly to do with karma, but important to explain, in order to know how to avoid karma, what's involved. My explanation of karma misunderstood. Basically, skillfulness and unskillfulness and baggage, the regrets you carry from your skillful and unskillful words, acts, deeds, and that it's the result of a previous cause, and that also that reaction, so you might react emotionally, you might react because of the serums in your body, think you're experiencing an emotion, when actually you're experiencing a physical sensation of the body feeling stressed up, panting, shaking, or ready to run, the fight or flight, shaking if it's fight, or very scared emotion if it's flight. It will make you feel something that you think is fear. Actually, it's your body full of serums, yeah? So is that karma? Is it punishment? No, it's not. It's cause and effect, and it's very scientific, and the Buddha was a scientist, in my opinion, and he explained the nature of everything, the dharma, the nature of being awakened, the Buddha Dharma, the awakened view of the nature of all things, yeah, and how to achieve that view, because all other views are false views based on a self that does not exist, and lock you inside the prison of thought, which is based on wrong views. That's why it's a prison. The prison of thought that is illusory dream thinking, samsara, which is an inescapable cycle of rebirth. And that karma is just action, meaning your thoughts, intentions, words, and so on. And the baggage you carry, not a courtroom in the sky. And so if you understand cause and effect scientifically, and you understand it also on the non-physical experiential level, cognitive level of your own consciousness, experiencing suffering through regret of unskillful acts, then you might understand what the word karma is really intended to mean, and how to avoid karma's actions, causes, how to avoid creating inauspicious causes, and how to learn how to create auspicious causes. You can't change the past, but in the present now, you can change the future. In the present, not in the future. You want to change the future, you change it now by creating a cause of a future effect. So what you do now is creating the future. And that is karma, action. Every little action causes a reaction. There is no guy with a hammer in the sky. There is only you and your own deeds. And there we go. Karma understood. Even though this podcast is called Karma Misunderstood. I believe now that for some of you, this podcast should now be called Karma Understood. Ajarn Spencer for the Buddha Magic Project and my own channel, and trying to help people understand, signing off.